Welcome to Powerboat Talk, the podcast where we talk everything performance boats with your host, Joe Road.
Hello, welcome to Powerboat Talk. This episode is brought to you by SoCal Jetboats. You can check out owner Brad Martin on episode 28 of Powerboat Talk to learn more about their company. SoCal Jetboats is one of the original online forums, and it's still a great resource for all kinds of performance boat info. SoCal Jetboats has an online store that has a fantastic selection of hot boat apparel and a full line of jet pump parts and accessories. SoCal Jetboats is also a great supporter of drag boat racing, and you can find them at most ADBA and NJBA races. You can also find them on Instagram and Facebook or online at SoCalJetboats.com. Yeah, good morning. Welcome to Powerboat Talk. Today I've got a great guy and a return visitor. Mike was on. Actually, I went back and looked almost about 2 years ago, pretty close to the week. So it was cool. Yeah, you came on like my 7th episode, man. That was really nice of you taking a chance at, some stupid old guy at 7 episodes. So thanks, man. So Mike Finnegan, everybody.
Thank you. I was excited to come on because, I don't know. I like talking about boats and, the people you're talking to, like I've watched a number of these, the people you're talking to have great stories.
Yeah.
I'm glad it's all getting documented before everybody's dead,
I know, dude. I probably shouldn't say this, but, I have this list I put together a couple years ago when I started thinking about this, and I just started making a list, right? And about every few months I go through and I reprioritize, like, who do I want to have? And dude, I have like a column for dead guys.
Oh, man.
Because people pass away, man. Somebody else just like a couple weeks ago, I'm trying to think, I don't even want to talk about it. But yeah.
No.
So
I totally understand.
I kind of prioritize like the older guys, and like, I got to talk to this guy.
Yeah. Well, like every time I drive across country, I'm like, okay, who can I see?
Oh, good.
And
idea.
At this point in my life, I kind of base it on their age because it's like people are getting older, and I'm like, I better see this dude because the next time I crisscross, the U.S. of A., they might not be here.
Yeah. And these guys, Duff Daly. I don't know if you Duff Daly. He's a circle boat guy. Been around, like literally been racing since like 1967. I went to the circle boat races Sunday out at Parker, and they broke their boat on Saturday. He's still driving a freaking 150 mile an hour K boat, right? But they broke. So he was just hanging out at the cantina. I sat with him for like 2 hours, just watching the races, BSing, and just like, man, I kept going, man, this is so cool. Like, I'll never get this information again. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's really valuable stuff. Like I was on, I think it was SoCal Jetboats Facebook page, and someone had asked a question about a racing craft they bought. And they were like running the HIN number, and it was an old one. I'm surprised it even had a HIN number. And they were asking who built it. And I'm like, well, it would have been Rudy Ramos, but he's passed away, And so unfortunately, you can't talk to him. I'm like, so hopefully someone else here has info on that deal. Because luckily there's other guys, like there's a guy named Rich who used to work in Advantage and worked for Rogers, and he's still around on forums and message boards. And that dude remembers boats he rigged or worked on. And
I wonder what that guy's Rich. What's his last name? I don't recognize.
Rich. He's Old Rigger. That was his hot boat forum name.
Oh, you know what? I've seen that dude.
Yeah. And so that guy, if you ever post up a photo of a boat that he remembers working on or Roger worked on, he will drop knowledge, and it's priceless stuff. It's really cool.
Yeah.
So guys like that, it's like, dude,
yeah,
he would be a good guy to interview.
I got to find out who that guy is, because I remember that old boat rigger tag on there one time. And
if you go on River Dave's site, I think he's got the same screen name. Or if you go on the SoCal Jetboats Facebook page or forum, you could probably message him through there. Okay. I forget his last name. It's Rich, but he goes by Old Rigger.
Or if anybody listens to this and wants to turn him in, man. Just send me an email. That'd be cool. I've been kind of piecing some stuff together about Rudy because I know a couple guys that worked for him. And I haven't had him on the show. I've kind of been trying to piece it together to see, okay, which guy should I get first? Should I get them together? And then his daughter still like manages a Facebook page.
That's cool.
Yeah. She was a ski racer, and she actually married a buddy of mine that ski races. So they still ski and stuff. So yeah, so I figured at some point I'll kind of piece that together, because that's a good one, man. That's that guy, him and Brummett, like the legacy with those guys is just cool.
Yeah, I never met Rudy, but I had a friend who knew him, lived near him, drove the the tow rig for him, and would tell stories about him. He was a character, and the imitation that he does of Rudy's voice. I'm like, I've never met Rudy, but I just wish I could have heard him talk because the voice sounds hysterical.
Yeah.
You know?
Interesting. Yeah. So, but yeah, we'll keep plugging away. I mean, hey, you know what? If you and I care about it, then we'll keep doing it.
Yeah.
Keep digging it. You know. All right. So, for people, if you're hiding under a rock, you don't know who this guy is, right? Former host of Roadkill TV show, and now your main gig is Finnegan's Garage, where you do all kinds of cool videos, and you actually do. Mike's obviously got a bunch of cool cars, but one thing he does is it's called drag and drive events. Which, if you're not familiar, you drive a substantial distance and you run a drag race, make some passes, get some times, and then you drive another distance and do the same thing day after day. And so Mike just, I think he did pretty good at this last one, right? It's called Sick at the Rock with your 55 Chevy.
Yeah. We almost ran personal bests multiple times down the quarter mile. We went 860 at 160 in my 55 Chevy. We ended up winning 2 classes, which was cool. We won the stick shift class and the gasser class, which was cool. Yeah. And that was a really good outing for that car, because now I think since the first of the year when I put it back together, it's probably got 1,500 miles on it now. And nothing's broke yet. So, which for me that's a big deal right there. The fact that it's still running. Because before that, we went to another event called Sick Week in February. And that one was 5 drag strips, 5 days. You road tripped in between each drag strip. So for instance, the first drag strip was in Valdosta, Georgia. Then we went south to Bradenton, Florida, and that was 330 miles between the two, which in a normal car is no big deal. But after you've spent an entire afternoon racing and then you don't get on the road till 6 o'clock at night in the dark in a 55 Chevy with a blown Hemi and, side pipes that are really loud, and you drive all night. Like, we got to the hotel at like, I don't know, 2:30 in the morning or something like that. And then got up and went to another drag strip and did it all over again. And I think by the end of the week, we had done like a little under 900 miles and raced at 5 tracks and didn't break anything. And managed to get second place there. So we're on a pretty good run so far in 2025 with my Bel Air.
Yeah. When you're saying that, it's like brutal, and you're forgetting about this, not counting the parts changing if you have to do that in between, man, or digging up parts or whatever. It's crazy.
Yeah. That part is like, to keep these cars alive on the road, you kind of have to do some things to them because they're just not modern cars. So like in the case of my car, it has a blown Chrysler Hemi. So to go 160 miles an hour at the drag strip, I've got to put all the boost in it. So before it goes back on the street, I put a giant blower pulley on the blower to slow it down and try to stop it from making a lot of hot air on the street, and so that we don't detonate the motor. And then at the drag strip, we run headers and then bullhorns, little short collector extensions that are maybe like a foot long. But on the street, we put side pipes on. So there's 3 main things. I changed from slicks to radials for the street. We put the side pipes on. We changed the blower belt and pulley, and then hit the road. That process takes like, I don't know, 30, 35 minutes. And then, we're towing a trailer on the street with a whole bunch of spares behind us. Because if you break down with a 426 Gen 2 Chrysler Hemi, no one has those parts, anywhere. So I've got a trailer that goes behind the car that has all the tools, all the parts. I nuke a piston. I have a spare piston in there just in case. So,
yeah, crazy. That stuff's crazy. But I mean, it's a test, right? I mean, it tests your fortitude. It tests everything, man.
Yeah, I like it because it's just man against the road. Like they have rules basically the whole point of these events is to find out who can build a really fast street car. And once you're on the drive portion of it between the tracks, if you break down, you can't get the thing towed. You can't have someone follow you with a trailer and take you to the next track. Like, you have to fix it. So it's not uncommon to see guys, putting head gaskets in cars or, changing water pumps, or I've seen guys swap transmissions. I've had to rebuild the transmission of my car at the drag strip when I broke first gear. Whatever you can do to finish, that's goal number 1, is can you finish? Can you prove you built a fast street car?
Right.
It's the most difficult and rewarding thing I've ever done in my life.
Yeah. Awesome. And you can't just write a check and be in this, right? I mean, you can write a check, but to stay in it, you got to know how to do all this stuff, and you gotta have the grit.
That's the thing, is you can absolutely write a checkbook and show up at one of these. You could buy a new car and show up one of these. They have classes for everything, but when it goes sideways, you better understand how to fix your car, or be with somebody. Because that's the other thing is, if you're smart, you bring a station wagon and fill it with as many smart people as you can in case something goes wrong. That would be the way to do it. But if you're trying to go really fast, then maybe the station wagon's a little heavy. Maybe there's a lot of, everything's a compromise. There are guys that build, C1 Corvettes, which fit nothing. You can maybe put a luggage rack on top for your luggage and a little trailer behind it for your slicks, but you're not carrying friends in that. You're bringing one more person, you're elbow to elbow in that car. And so there's a lot of strategy. There's a lot of guys that build cars specifically for these events and nothing else. And those guys, they're very good at it. You'll see some of these cars will run bottom 6 seconds at 200 miles an hour in a quarter of a mile, and then hook a trailer to them and drive to the next track. Like the current record right now is there's a guy named Tom Bailey who went 599 at 250 in a pro mod. Yeah. And he drives it. I've seen
it drove away.
Yeah. I've seen him take it to McDonald's, this car. Wow. It's very cool.
Cool stuff. No, and you've been doing them. It's been a while, but man, you really gotten the bugs worked out of it. And I can't, man. 860 with a stick shift gasser is the thing that kills me. Like that's crazy.
So it's so violent and so fun. When I let the clutch out, I never know what's going to happen. It might wheelie, it might not. It might go left. It just, and it's just, it's a lot like trying to drag race a jet boat. You just, do whatever you can, but you're never going to make a perfect pass. Yeah. I never have in the jet boat. I never have in Blasphemy either. So
yeah. Well, that's what you keep chasing, right?
Yeah.
So so cool. So hey, man, so big change too, right? Like Roadhill, MotorTrend decided to fold things up, and now you're a full-time entrepreneur, right?
Yeah, I'm a full-time YouTuber. It's really fun, actually. I woke up this morning and I was like, what kind of video do we want to make today? And I went, well, the sun's out and the boat runs. Let's go see if the jet boat, will lay down a good time. So when I hang up here with you, we're going to go to the lake and test it. So,
cool. Yeah, we'll talk about that progress. But so I mean, when it happened, obviously it was a shock because it was a lot of shows, right? Like a lot of shows at once were gone. And it was funny because you see a lot of guys, I don't know if I can mention names, but there was a lot of guys that are like, all of a sudden you see them really pumping up their YouTube, like, oh, I better start a YouTube. I better get my shit together. And like, you were already, it's like, okay, I'll just kind of flip this switch over here,
Well, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but in 2016, I saw something happening and went, I need a backup plan. So that was the YouTube channel. And it's kicked my butt for 8 years trying to keep it going and growing while doing roadkill and, all the other stuff I was doing. But it was so worth it because, we essentially got the rug pulled out from underneath us. All of us, nobody knew they were shutting the company down. Nobody knew they were canceling all these shows. Yeah. Towards the tail end, we kind of got a feeling that it was going to happen. But when it actually happened, we were like, oh. And yeah, so a lot of people were scrambling because, I don't think what a lot of people realize is when you do one of these TV shows, the schedule is pretty intense. And if you had a business that was unrelated to that show, you probably walked away from it, or you probably couldn't pay enough attention to it like you did before. And so I think a lot of people ended up having to just, reality hit them in the head and they're like, oof, I got to go do something, some of those people were lucky, like their business was their TV show. But for a lot of them, a lot of those MotorTrend shows, they were journalists at the company who ended up, on television. I was one of those people, it wasn't something I sought out. It just landed in my lap. And, without the YouTube thing, I'd have been in trouble when this whole thing shut down. So,
yeah. And on the reverse side, it's like, it obviously was probably scary and probably disheartening, but on the flip side, it's like, okay, when I get to give this thing 100% of my attention now and see where, I mean, cause it's amazing what it's done part-time. So full-time, man, it's going to be, I think it's the sky's the limit.
Yeah, I am excited because there's, we no longer have anything stopping us or inhibiting us from doing things we really want to do. Like,
oh yeah,
like my contract was written in such a way that my YouTube show couldn't mimic my real life, which was like, if you took away roadkill, I'd still be going on road trips, whether there was a camera guy there or not. That's just, I love doing it. And my YouTube show could have been about that, but it wasn't because that was written into my contract.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Yeah. Finnegan's Garage couldn't be that way. I couldn't film with other MotorTrend people. Even the ones that were my friends beforehand or worked for me on my YouTube show, like David Newbern and Mike Cotton were my friends and worked with me. Newbern, especially, he worked full time for me when we started the Finnegan's Garage or Fast with Finnegan MotorTrend show. Once that started, I couldn't hang out with him and film it. Basically, it was totally weird. And so now, ever since everybody got laid off, now we're like, okay, well, we can all hang out again. In fact, David Freiberger and I are going to take a road trip next week.
Really?
Cross country. Yeah. And he and I never could do that while roadkill existed. So it is kind of exciting.
Yeah. So do you have kind of a long-term plans you can share, or is it just like you say, you're just going to get up and week by week see how it goes? Or
no, I never have a long-term plan. I drove my dad up the wall growing up. While he was still alive, every now and he'd be like, "So, what are you gonna do next year?" I don't know. I literally don't know.
Race my cars, race my boat.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm gonna do this because it's fun, and I feel like as long as you're having fun and you're genuine about it, there will always be somebody there to go on that ride with you, and you'll always have a job. I think the moment you over strategize it or over plan it or fake it, you're screwed. And so I look about a month ahead to events I want to go to, and that is it. Like,
wow.
Like I know towards the tail end of 2025, I want to go drag boat racing out west. Cause there's really nothing happening where I live. There's some events in Texas and Oklahoma, but they're in the dead of summer, and they're in spots where you get one class, and there's no test and tune, and sorry if you go out first round and you drove 15 hours.
Really?
Yeah. Like the SDBA and the KDBA. You could go to Wheatland, Missouri. You can go to Texas. You're going to run one class and there's no test and tune. And I've told those people multiple times, I'm like, dude, I would come to this deal, but it's 15 hours and you don't have test and tune. Like the thing I like about the National Jetboat Association is when you go there, I don't hang out in my pit hardly at all. We'll enter 3 classes and just hot lap the boat and put fuel in it. Because my friends and I, that's what we want to do is run the boat. We don't want to sit around and barbecue. Yeah. That doesn't really interest us. And so we'll run 3 classes at NJBA. We'll run unblown fuel jet, quick eliminator, and either Super E or the 660 class. And it's really fun. And when we were at World Finals a couple of years ago and the SDBA put it on, I tried to talk them into it. I'm like, you're racers. I mean, if you like making money, charge everybody for another class. Let them all run it.
Yeah.
They were uninterested in that.
Wow,
they kept telling me their racers didn't want it. I'm like, you're high if you think boat racers don't want to drive their boats. And at that particular event, it was a co-points race, I think, with NJBA. So we were able to run 2 classes with NJBA in the middle of that event. And so they got to see a whole lot of boat racers do it, NJBA racers. So they've seen it in practice. They know it can work. But they weren't into it, man. It's weird.
Crazy. That's a pretty simple equation.
It really is. Boat racing frustrates me to some degree because there's no promoters. It seems like nobody knows how to make money at it. And so it doesn't grow. If anything, in my opinion, it's dying. The boat counts are going down every year. And I don't have the time or really the inclination to try to fix it because it needs fixing. Like it needs a promoter. It needs there needs to be attendees that are not racers paying for this. Right now, the racers are paying for everything.
Right.
If the boat count goes down below a certain level, it's done, because there's not enough fans coming through the gate. There's not enough fans coming through the gate because it's not promoted properly. Yeah, it's frustrating. Like I have a boat in my garage. We're going to go test it today. I'm all excited about it. And I don't know. Where am I going to run it? I might have to go all the way to Bakersfield from Georgia to run it.
Yeah. So. Wait, did you leave it out here like a couple of summers ago, right?
I did. When I bought it, that was my plan. It was a California boat. I bought it, and my intention was to just leave it there and fly out and boat race with my friends. Because I was under the impression it was a turnkey, ready to go boat, and that turned out to not be the case. And so after a year of it was literally a nightmare. After a year of heads leaking water and valve springs breaking, and then pistons hitting valves and all this stuff, I finally was like, I'm done. So I took it back to Georgia. So it's here now. And so now that it's here, it's fixed, and we're going to start testing it. Now the question then becomes, do I drag it all the way back to California and leave it there, which I don't really want to. Do I sell it? I don't know. I don't really know. I'm going to run it this year a couple of times, but after that, I don't know what's going to happen to it. So.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So let's talk about that. Yeah. After you bought it, did you get out to 2 races or 3?
When, this year?
No, when you first bought, and this is your Cheyenne.
I was so fired up about it. I flew out once, heard it run in the driveway, paid for it, flew back like 2 weeks later, rented a truck from Enterprise, borrowed the enclosed trailer for the boat because I hadn't bought that yet, and went right to Lake Ming in Bakersfield. And that was November of 2022. And nothing worked. Like we went out first round, all 3 classes. The boat wouldn't even get on the racetrack. Like it was kind of a disaster. And so then it was like, crap. Like now I'm in Georgia making phone calls, trying to shuffle this boat and have my friends tow it places to get repaired because I can't take that much time off of work. So, and that just kind of happened I think I ran, I bought it in November 2022. I think we ran 4 races in 2023. Oh,
4 races. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe 5 with World Finals. And there were moments where I saw the potential of this boat. There were moments where all of a sudden it was like, this thing's a rocket, but then it would just break. We'd find something else wrong with it, And then the last straw was World Finals. It made 5 passes on a brand new engine rebuild and just broke a valve. And when I ripped it apart, it turns out none of the clearances were right. And, pistons were hitting the crank, pistons were hitting the valves. Like it was a mess. But it's all fixed now. So I'm feeling more positive about the future of the boat. We just have to figure out, what makes sense and where can we go to run it. There's actually a guy named Mark. I think he's putting on an outlaw race in Tennessee in June.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. He's working with Joe Shelfo of the NJBA.
Joe's a good call. Yeah.
Joe lives in Tennessee. Last I heard is he's got a timing system and they're throwing a drag boat race. And I'm like, hell yeah.
Nice.
That place is like 3 hours from me, 4 hours. I'm going,
Yeah.
So I will promote the hell out of that thing if I can help,
Yeah. There's got to be a shit ton of boats in Tennessee.
There's like a whole boating, classic boating vibe, the scene there. Guys hanging out on some river. I haven't been to it, but there's stuff's happening there. You figure there's got to be boats hiding places because Lucas Oil, one of their biggest races was at Augusta, Georgia, and they pulled the plug on it, and nobody ever picked up, that ball and ran with it. So there's got to be boats out here somewhere. I just haven't. They're on my local lake.
Yeah, and Tennessee just has so much water everywhere. There's just stuff tucked all over the place. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That's in June.
Okay, June. Okay, cool. I'll have to talk to him and figure out when that is. Yeah, the crazy thing is too about your motor. I mean, that thing wasn't a cheap date, right? Like it's a 630-inch Dart deal, and and you can go watch videos. You can go watch videos of when you had problems. You can go watch a video when you tore it down, and we'll talk about I just watched the video putting it together and re-dynoing it too. But man, it's crazy that something that nice of parts got shuffled together like it did.
Yeah, and it's not that it's junk. Like it's a nice boat, but it definitely proves out that, you know, that old saying about you don't buy something without driving it. And I didn't drive the boat, and it wasn't a case of the seller knew the problems. They didn't. That motor had broke, got rebuilt, put back in the boat, and the boat just sat. So when I bought it, everything, you know, every hose was pretty much junk. The wiring was corroded. The data box didn't work. The heads had a water leak internally that you wouldn't have known it unless you put it in the water and ran the boat. So I have no ill will towards the family that sold it to me. And even with a breaking, it was a pretty good deal. You know, so it's one of those things. I'm upset over all the money I spent on it and the fun I missed. And I'm upset over the money I spent, you know, trying to go racing with something that was just broke, you know, 5 times. But now, you know, like I said, I learned a lesson. You know, if there had been a way to lake test the boat, I should have done it. And there wasn't. You know, the way I bought it, there wasn't a way to lake test it. So yeah. So if you're at home and you see something that's too good to be true, it might be. Drive the boat. Just drive the boat. Even if it's a really fast boat, go drive it. Put it in the water to see if it leaks. Like that would have avoided a lot of my problems right there.
And I'd be willing to bet that when you were driving to get it, making the deal, you always had that in the back of your head. You probably were saying, really should drive this. I really should drive it. But you were probably so excited.
Yeah, I didn't. I literally didn't. Because I had done my homework. Like I called the dude that built the motor. You know, I called the dude that rebuilt the motor. I called the dude that built the boat. And everybody was like, yeah, this thing is legit. It hauls ass. It's got the best parts you can buy. Like, it never occurred to me that this thing was
really?
just gonna, not once did it ever occur to me. You know, and whenever I look at this boat, it just makes me smile. It's such a cool looking boat. And when it works, it's fast. So
yeah, it sounds like it's going to be really fast. So like I say, you just did the video back in December, got it all together. You got it down to a guy, got it all sorted out. Yep. And sounds like it's just like a lot of little stupid stuff, clearance wise. And
yeah. Pete Harrell over in Mooresville rebuilt the 632. It's virtually the same motor. It was just, you know, you got to make the metal parts not hit the metal parts. That's the important part of engine building. So he did that, and then he did have the cam reground because the cam, it basically had square lobes, and so it was no wonder it was breaking valve springs and not living. So the cam is a little more mild, and we actually set it up for nitrous. It's not on there right now because I just want to go enjoy a weekend of racing and not worrying about things. So the bottle's not in the boat, and the manifold that's on it's not even plumbed for nitrous yet. So that's going to help me resist the temptation.
I was going to say, you really handcuffed yourself. That was smart.
I did. I literally, I had 2 intakes for that. One had nitrous nozzles in it. The other one didn't. And I put the one on the motor that didn't have it. So I cannot spray it until I want to get through an entire weekend of racing and drinking beer in the pits after that and smiling and laughing without major calamity before I go, okay, let's introduce potential major calamity by shoving a 400 shot down his throat. You know?
Yeah. It's good. I mean, that's a sign of maturity right there, man.
Well, or it's expensive. I don't know if it's maturity so much as my wallet's on fire.
Yeah. So it made
you watched all of these YouTube videos about this boat. This is a great plan for how not to do it. Opposite of what I've done.
You know, it would have been really cool. You could have had a little money counter in the corner the whole time going ding, ding, ding.
I could have, because my wife doesn't watch any of my YouTube videos, so she would have no idea. It would be great. Totally get away with that.
Yeah, and it made like 1,200, right? 1,200 horsepower. Naturally,
it made right at 1,200.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Which is pretty good, naturally aspirated. It's interesting. There was a lot of people in the comments going, so-and-so's makes $1,350. And I'm like, that's great. Give me the recipe. This didn't do that. And it would have made more. We dynoed it on fuel that was, you know, it was really a nitrous friendly fuel. You know, if you had stuck oxygenated fuel in there, it probably would have made another 30 or 40 with the red jetting. And we took some compression out of it. We took a lot of camshaft out of it. I think that thing probably would have made an honest 1,250, 1,275 if you just went all out NA. There wasn't any point to that. The problem or not problem, the dilemma with this specific boat is it's so light that 1200 will make it run 6 seconds and 1,000 foot pretty easily. It'll actually go quicker than that. So you can run quick eliminator at all these associations, but you don't have enough power to run any of the other heads up classes. And there aren't many, but there's an 8th mile heads up class at some of these places. But you're gonna run 395 to the 8th, and you're gonna get worked by a hydro that goes 360.
Gotcha.
Or some of these jet boats that are now going 340s. And so,
gotcha.
And the boat is so light that putting 1,000 more horsepower with a nitrous to it to be competitive, the boat probably won't work with it because it's just so damn light. Like when I'm sitting on a starting line and the water's calm, the boat goes A to B and it'll go 134 miles an hour and it'll run 580 in 1,000 foot. And you can slow it down from there to run quick eliminator. The moment the water gets choppy, this thing's going to go 610 with the same settings in it because it will not stay hooked up. It just bounces across the water because it's so light.
Gotcha.
So it's, you kind of got to pick and choose.
And at 1200, it's in make every race, check the valves, don't break ship mode, probably too, right?
Yeah, I think so. Like my last race boat that I had, it had a similar motor. It was a spread port, big block Chevy. It was a 582 that I built with profiler heads, and it made 1160. And that motor, I put valve springs in it once a year, and I just beat the snot out of it on the Colorado River and at every NJBA race. And we didn't break stuff. We just didn't break stuff because it's, you buy good parts, you make sure they don't hit each other, things are fine. I beat the snot out of that motor, and it was a great motor. And it's actually in another dude's boat right now. It's been rebuilt obviously, but it, the big block Chevy they're just great engines. They're perfect for
Yeah. So, hey, one thing I liked about your video when I was watching it, maybe you can talk about it. I thought it was a really cool little thing you did at the end where you showed your receipt for the dyno. And maybe you could talk about it because I don't know if people really understand. They all want to dyno stuff, but I wonder if they really understand kind of what it took to get, before the thing got on the dyno and how much time you had it and how much it costs. And I don't know if you want to talk about it. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, no problem. First off, 100% fully support dynoing something before you use it, whether it's a chassis dyno or an engine dyno. It's a great way to make sure that you're going to enjoy that thing later on. You're not going to waste much time. And in the case of that Jetboat motor, we showed up the night before the dyno session, dropped it off, and they spent like 3 hours mounting it to their dyno and trying to configure their exhaust system to work with our boat headers because they did car engines mostly. And then when I got there in the morning, I spent 3 hours trying to make their throttle system make my dual carbs go full throttle, which was a giant pain in the butt. Brackets and levers and the cable and the handle and the console didn't have enough throw in it. And it was a Superflow dyno. And so we didn't make a dyno pull until probably 12 o'clock in the afternoon on day 2. So you figure they're already 8 hours into this. And we made, I think, 15 dyno pulls, and we finished about 6 o'clock at night. And my bill there from them was, I think, $1,500, which sounds really high, except you got to remember they've now spent, 12, 14 hours on this project. I provided all the fuel, which is about $300 worth of race fuel I bought locally. My spark plugs, my carb jets. And the thing that it did for me was we verified the engine was not ready to go in the boat and run. The cylinder heads, one of them was leaking water. So we were able to find that out. We verified that the carb jetting on paper looked really strange. It was all over the place. And we squared it all up and ran it, made hardly any more power than what it had. And so that was cool. I learned something there. I learned that although this thing, it had 110 jet in one corner and an 87 in the other, and it was all over the place. And I'm like, this is nuts. And we spent hours going round and around rejetting the thing and got it to make maybe another 10 horsepower than it did on that first pull. And that wasn't the point. The point was finding out, all right, how do we make all these cylinders, run smoothly and evenly? because I like to treat the motor as just 8 motors. Eight cylinders are just individual motor. Make every one of them happy, you'll make more power and it'll live longer. So long story short, I left there with, my wallet was $1,500 lighter, but the engine was ready to go in the boat. And then, when I go to test it today, we won't find out that the engine's milkshaking itself and struggle to figure out why, because we figured it out on the dyno.
Right. That's awesome. Yeah. It was cool to see that whole because because everybody thinks, oh, it's $600 a day or whatever it is, no big deal. But there's obviously more to it, especially if you're talking about boat stuff, because most of these guys are car guys. So you got some adaptability stuff, right?
Well, and I think, to be honest, the dyno shops, there's no way they're making money on these dyno sessions. I think that particular dyno shop has that dyno to verify their own motors, and they do dyno work for other people, but I don't see how you can make money at it, because $1,500 when you burned up 2 days of your life, it just didn't seem like enough. Obviously I didn't want to pay more, but whoever owns that dyno, man, that's it. You're working really hard for that $1,500, in my opinion.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Well, good. Well, I hope all the dyno operators out there appreciate that, because I did, because I think the same thing, man. So it's just a lot of work. So
yeah, like when you see these chassis dyno shops, they're like, yeah, come to our dyno day and $175, and they'll put 10 cars on the dyno in one day. And I'm like, oh man, like, because the truth is, like, nobody's ever ready for their dyno session. I've never met anybody that was, even when I think I am, because I've dynoed enough stuff with Steve Relay at West Tech to know what his expectations are. And he's as professional as they come. And that shop that he was at, West Tech, was the best equipped dyno shop I've ever been to. So when you showed up unprepared, missing parts, broken parts, whatever, they usually had the things you needed to overcome that problem. That's really one of the lessons is, hopefully you've shown up with an engine that's actually ready to fire up. The time is actually set, right? You don't have crisscross spark plug wires or, valves not lashed or, whatever it is. If you're going to dyno something, watch a lot of YouTube videos, find out, what you need to do before you ever show up. Yeah. Call the dyno shop ahead of time and ask them, what do I need to be ready for you guys? Because the dyno shop has the responsibility of taking this motor you've built or bought, configuring it to fit their dyno, headers, mounts, everything. And when they fire it up, if it goes sideways, you're going to look at that dyno operator, like it's his fault, and it's not. He didn't build your motor.
Yeah.
Not his fault the balancer shot off the front of the motor and hit the door because you didn't put a bolt in it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great tips. And no matter what your bill is too, I mean, at the end of the day, man, it still saves you a ton of time and headache, right? Especially if you broke something because you had the jetting off or whatever, but just messing with like you said, a head leak or driving it to the lake and not getting to use it that day, like it saves you in the long run.
The first motor I ever rebuilt, I was 15. It went in the car, wired, plumbed, thought I was ready to drive it. Nope. Clearances were wrong. It wouldn't even crank over. It was so tight. And had to take it all back apart. Had to take it somewhere else because I was like, well, I thought I did it right. I didn't clearly. So it had to go to a professional to get rebuilt. Yeah. Had you taken it to an engine dyno, you'd have found all that out before, you stuck it in the car and wasted a Saturday.
Yeah. Yeah. But if you would have done that though, step one of that lifelong education wouldn't have been accomplished to the next thing. You got it right then and there. You had no idea what a road that was going to be.
Yeah. All the losses are the ones that stick with me. Those are the lessons I remember. I've forgotten entire races we've won. Like literally entire weekends of racing have just gone out of my brain that my friends will remind me of and be like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. But I can tell you where we were when we tried to go down the track with 4 spark plug wires off the motor, or the jetaway was out of gear, or, like I remember those. They're in there.
Yeah.
Embarrassment is a powerful tool.
Yeah. Athletes will say that too, man. Guys won 5 championships, but the one they lost, that's all they can. I just read a book about Jerry West. He's like, the ones I lost, I couldn't stop thinking about them.
Oh yeah. Like we lost Hot Rod Drag Week on day 4, Thursday last year. We lost it in the burnout box, and I know exactly when it happened, and I know it was my fault, and I should have never made that pass.
That sucks.
And that sticks with me because, you know, had I just stopped in the burnout box, pushed it back to the pit, fixed the problem, and not made that pass, we would have won. Because the very next day, the guy that won my class blew his motor up and ran a horrible pass.
Oh man,
those stick with you, especially when that same dude makes a T-shirt about his victory and then puts his car just a little bit ahead of yours and mails you the T-shirt. It's hard to forget. Yeah. It's got a good sense of humor, though.
Yeah, dude, that was a good one on his part, though.
Oh, it was just when I got it, I was like, "You son of a bitch!" That's really funny.
That's awesome. Yeah, cool for all that. What else good? Oh, how's the Finnegan vacation looking this year?
It's on. It's happening. Yeah. That boat is so reliable.
Yeah. So you haven't just been working, haven't touched it or anything.
We got it out of mothballs a couple of weeks ago and dropped it in the water. Took it to the restaurant, ate dinner, came back. No issues. And I was like, we should probably rip this thing apart and look at it because it's probably got. When did I build that? 2022. It's got 3 years on it now. I think the break-in oil is still in the motor actually, and the same spark plugs are in it. We should probably work on it. Yeah. So no, we're ready. We'll be out at the Colorado River for Father's Day.
Yeah. So you do your normal week trip out and cool.
Yeah. Awesome. I'd like to bring Side Chick. I just can't figure out how the hell to get it out there. You know, it chaps my ass just having it sit here and not being used. You know. So.
You could get it out there.
I don't know. It's a long way to go, and I can only tow so much, you know. Mm-hmm. So you're talking about bringing a whole another truck and trailer with you.
Yeah.
And my wife and kids, you know, they're not going to really care whether that boat's there or not. You know?
Yeah, right.
The one with the ski pole and the tube, and, you know, they want that one there.
Yeah, that's cool.
They want their stand-up. They want the stand-up jet skis there. Whether the drag boat shows up or not, that's not really their concern.
Yeah, it's good. That's right. Awesome. Well, you'll have to text me and let me. I'll do this intro to let me know how the test went today.
Sure.
See if it all stayed together. So
I will do that for sure.
All right. And then so you're gonna do videos of it too.
Yeah.
We need more boat videos, man.
We'll have a YouTube video. Yeah. I've it's weird. For once in my life, I'm ahead on YouTube. I have almost 2 weeks for the videos saved up already.
Wow.
And
nice.
So it'll probably be 3 weeks before the boat video comes out.
Nice.
But yeah, we'll definitely give you all an update on that thing and give you the good and the bad.
Yeah. Cool. I think I talked to you about that. I helped John Buck. I got a bunch of boats at the Grand National Roadster Show. But anyhow, we ended up having about 20 boats, but the guy that bought Game Over, what's his name? John Green?
Oh yeah, John Green.
Yeah. He was supposed to come. He got sick like a couple days before, but we thought we were going to have that there. Yeah. So
he's taking good care of that thing.
Yeah. Looks good. Yep. Yeah, I think what's the guy Jacob and Havasu did some stuff on it. I think said it looked really nice. So
cool.
Yeah. But
John's a good dude. He's got a lot of nice stuff.
Yeah. So hopefully next year. Yeah, we'll do it again next year. It was pretty successful. I had a lot of good guys there, and it was pretty fun. So
yeah, I saw the photos of it. The boats looked outstanding.
Yeah.
Especially the B drives. There's always anything that comes out of Billy B's camp is just, or Dave Salmon's or any of those dudes. Those boats are so nice.
Yeah. And Peterson too. He had
Peterson. The dude's from another world. Last time I saw him, he told me, I forgot how old he said he was. He's like, I've only got 1 or 2 more of these in me. And I'm like, what? Because he doesn't look old to me. And I'm like, that's going to be horrible because I live vicariously through his Instagram account. Yeah. And every time a new Placecraft or a new Advantage bubble deck gets done in his shop, you know, he never posts enough photos or videos of them for me. No. And there's never hardly any close-ups of the rigging, but the rigging is so nice, you know.
Yeah.
It's always got a Mike Porter Redline motor in it. And I mean, dude, they're nice. And so when he told me that, I was like, I hope you're kidding because I need you to keep doing this for guys like me.
Yeah.
Don't live near you. And he must have gone back on that because I swear he's built 4 new boats since I was there.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, the last time I talked to him he was actually at the Roadster Show. In fact, he was supposed to bring it. Did you see his boat he built for himself, the yellow one?
Yeah.
So he was supposed to bring that, and at the last minute, he sold the trailer or something. But he ended up bringing Mike Porter. Did you see Mike Porter's boat?
The red one.
So he built, as a surprise, Tom built it for his wife, Jennifer.
Oh, they built a new one.
they built it was a red one. It was at the Grand National, and it was the first time Jennifer saw it. They came to the Grand National on Friday morning, and she saw her name on it. It was the first time she saw it. So that was pretty cool.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah. And what I didn't know either was that Jennifer's maiden name was Christensen.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you know Harry Christensen and Debbie Christensen own Advantage Boats. I didn't know that. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah. And I've only met her a couple of times with Mike at their house. And I don't know her all that well, but I was always wondered how involved in Advantage she was, or if she was at all. I have no idea. But I know that's, Advantage lays up all those bubble decks that used to be the Rogers 18 Bonneville, and Peterson builds a lot of those things.
Yeah, I wonder if they even sell any to anybody else but him.
I feel like he's the only one, right? You don't ever see them pop up at the hands of anyone else. And it's an interesting boat, because if you've ever driven one, they're very quick, but they don't ride great because it's a 18-foot V bottom. It's one of the sexiest looking jet boats I've ever seen in my life. But having driven one and having owned a couple of 19 Rogers, they're great until you drive a tunnel boat, and then you're like, I don't ever want to go back to one.
Yeah.
And so the idea that he's building 6-figure versions of those boats still is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
You got, wherever you're running that, I hope the water's smooth.
Yeah. And like you said, I mean, it's been a while since I talked to him about that too, but he told me that at one point too. Like, I think he's like 66, 67, 68, something like that. But he was saying, like, I think he told me at the time he had like 7 in line, and he said, I don't say anything, but I don't even know if I'm going to make it. Like, I don't even know if I want to get these sell. I'm just tired of it.
Yeah. Which is, it's wild when he says it, because he doesn't look that old.
No, not at all.
But my guess is, his face, he doesn't look that old. But my guess is being bent over a boat 8 hours a day at that age is,
Yeah.
I'm not. Yeah. I don't think I'm there when he's there.
and I was just telling the guy this weekend something. This guy, I know he wants to go to work for somebody doing that stuff. And I tell him about Tom, and Tom's got like, that guy operates that business like a watch too. Like, people might not like this, but I mean, he locks his doors. Like he gets in, he gets the stuff done. And like, he can tell the guy, look, kind of tell me what you want. I could give you a pretty good idea of how many hours I'm going to have in it, and it's going to be done in 4 months. And that guy gets it, and that's why he's got the repeat customers, man. Guys just, they want to pay for it. They want to be able to get it and use it. So
yeah, he's one of the few guys in the boat business I absolutely would trust to build a new boat.
Yeah.
Like my Placecraft, it's funny. My Placecraft, I ordered it, and it was done on time, and he didn't like it. And,
oh, really?
Yeah, he did not like the gel coat, and I never saw it in person. He texted me a photo of it. I'm like, it looks great. And he's like, nope, I'm going to lay up an entirely new deck, and we'll just paint the sides to match, but we're laying up a new deck because I don't like the gel coat.
Wow.
Yeah. I was like, all right, bro. I wasn't in a hurry. So I was like, okay, fine.
Wow.
And so I don't know what the one that got rejected looked like in person, but he went above and beyond.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that's pretty awesome. Well, that says a lot right there, right?
He's a good dude. Yeah. Because I'm sure you could paint that deck and probably use it on something else, but your time is still there,
Right.
That cost him money to do that. So
yeah. So
good dude.
But cool. Well, hey, thanks, man. Anything else that you want to promote or talk about, or?
I don't know. We can talk about you.
I got nothing. This is the most exciting part of my week right here. I will, man. Like, I'll tell you one thing about this stuff. Like, I was going good when I started doing this. I'm trying to put out once a week, right? Then it was like, if I got about 3 a month, and I was doing pretty good, but man, I hit a wall I got a little promotion at work and got crazy, man. I've been kind of off for like three months or so. And it bums me out because I really like it. In fact, I was riding my bike the other day after work, and I was thinking to myself, like, man, I'm so bummed I haven't done a podcast in a while. And then I was like, I kind of don't even feel like it. When I said that, I'm like, oh, you got to knock that off because you know how much you like it, right? So I got like 5 in the next 2 weeks scheduled, so I really started pushing. But yeah, so guys like you that do it for years, man, I don't know how you stay. The consistency is Man, it's got to be a grind.
It really isn't. The grind is in, you can't ever take a day off. So that, the grind part for me is when it gets down to the editing and the uploading and the back end stuff of making YouTube videos. That part, the last thing I want to do after those movies, the Sick Week movie thing they made. It's 5 parts. Every one of them is an hour plus long. Well, I've seen them 4 times, each one. So there's 20 hours of my life gone, and I'll never get back. And so once they're live, I don't ever go back and watch them because I don't want to. That part of it is the only part that wears me out. The actual wrenching and making the episodes, that never gets old.
Yeah,
that's super fun. Like I wake up in the middle of the night going, "Ooh, I want to do this." That part I won't get tired of. But the rest of it, Finnegan Speed Marine is literally myself and Joe Cole. Joe Cole wrenches and videos, all the invoicing, all the bookkeeping, all the social media. That's all me, bro. And that is not a glamorous job.
Right. And that's the part it is you. And then so you do all your editing?
I do. So I have an editor who lays it all out and makes the transitions, and then I go back. In the beginning, I did it all.
That's the part, man.
Yeah, it's so time consuming. I enjoy the editing part the first time. But going through it 3 and 4 times, because now I have a guy who lays it all out, puts the transitions in it, and then I watch it, give notes, and he makes the changes. Well, that part it's almost as time consuming for me to do that as it is to just edit it myself. However, that guy is way better at editing than I am. So the end product is better. It's the only reason I farm it out is the end project is so much better, but it's super time consuming. And so, that's what people don't see is like my videos go live on Sunday. So Thursday or Friday, I get a rough cut from my editor, and then I spend a good portion of Saturday watching it and giving notes, and then Saturday night uploading it, and then Sunday morning making sure it's live and responding to comments. And my wife and kids, they know at about 11 a.m. they get me back, and I get about a half a day off on Sunday. And so a lot of people, you want to be a YouTuber, cool, but this is what it's really like. Like there is no, I can literally, if I take a week off, and I've done it before, I can watch my analytics just nosedive.
Really?
The revenue, everything about the revenue, everything nosedives, and it's hard to get it back because in your absence, people are like, something else gets suggested to them. They click on it, they find another favorite YouTuber, and then they forget and they don't come back.
Wow.
That's the reality of it. And so TV is a lot easier because you make that stuff in batches and then it goes away and you're done and you can go do something else. And, maybe your season gets renewed for another one. Maybe it doesn't, but YouTube is every day of your life.
Even so, like with YouTube TV, with that whole module, I mean, that doesn't affect that at all as far as, I don't know.
Well, it doesn't affect me because I'm an individual channel business owner.
Okay.
So, the reality is the more times I upload a video, the more money I'll make. But if you want to make money at this, unbox kids' toys, don't build cars or boats, because that is time consuming and expensive, because contrary to popular belief, people don't give away Hemis. When I blow up the Hemi, I got to pay for the Hemi. And so for me to upload a video on a Sunday, which means I'm filming Monday through Friday on that video, editing it, then putting it out. And so it's a full-time gig.
Yeah.
And my dream would be to upload a video, every other day or every 3 days, but I'd have to clone myself, that's just not possible. In the kind of content I'm making, it is physically not possible for me to, go every 3 days.
Yeah.
I can't build stuff that fast. So.
Crazy.
But it's the funnest job ever. Like I said, today we're going to go drive a drag boat on a lake, and maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. Either way, we'll make a video about it and give you guys the reality of it. Hopefully everybody likes that.
Yeah, no, everything you do is a potential video. And so it's like you're working, but you're not working.
Yeah. 100%. As long as you can remember to record it and edit it and enjoy it.
Oh, that's got to kill you.
There's a lot of moments where, did we get that? No, we did not get that.
Oh,
well, it is what it is. Move on.
Yeah. Right. Crazy. Well, cool. Well, awesome. And yeah, Finnegan's Garage, everybody. So make sure you keep watching, and the more we watch, the more chance we get to see more boat videos. So
exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
I make those knowing not as many people watch them as car videos. So, that's a pet project for me, 100%. Yeah. I do it knowing, well, we're probably going to lose money if we drive to California and race this boat. I mean, we're definitely going to lose money. But I really enjoy it. So as long as people keep watching it, as long as 20 people watch it, I'll do it.
Okay, good. I think you get more than 20, but yeah, that's good. At least it's good. You've another sign of maturity. You realize that if you boat race, you're going to lose money. So
yeah. I always knew it. It just gets driven home more now when I see the results on screen. Yeah. I can ignore the receipts in my wallet for a few weeks, but literally when I upload the video on the screen and not as many people watch it, I can see that. It hits home a little more.
All right. Well, I'll try to rally. We'll try to do better. So
thank you.
All right, man. Well, thanks. Good luck. Hopefully it all stays together today. And we're looking forward to that outlaw thing in June. That'll be cool. I hope that goes down.
Yeah, I'll keep you posted on that. Or if you talk to Joe Shelfo, he's got it.
I'm absolutely going to call him and figure it out. So
all right. Maybe you guys can come out and watch it.
Yeah, that'd be very cool.
We could interview a bunch of boat racers in person.
Yep. Sounds good.
All right.
Cool, man. Thanks. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Very cool. I always like talking to you. So good luck with everything. And man, I hope the views keep going up.
We'll be all right either way. We'll still do it either way, even if we lose money.
Yeah. Good. All right. Thanks, buddy. Take care.
Thanks, Joe.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Powerboat Talk. If you like what you've heard, please head over to Apple Podcasts and give us a 5-star review. For more Powerboat Talk, follow us on Facebook or Instagram, or visit our website at powerboattalk.com.